Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Aknakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. This one's titled Thanksgiving, an annual celebration of Native Genocide. Okay, once again, Thanksgiving, an annual celebration of Native Genocide. Now, we know that Esau, all right, the so-called white man, and that's who he is, has slaughtered millions upon millions of Israelites, all right, with the natives being, the so-called natives, being one of the tribes, okay, of Israel, being, the Gadites, okay? So this is a annual holiday, okay, that celebrates the brutal enslavement and murder and torture and assimilation later on of the Native American Indian, as well as, all Israel, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, and this happens to be your first video that you've stumbled across, all right, regarding the Hebrew Israelites, all right? And that's who we are, the Hebrew Israelites. This is the 12 tribes sign here, okay? So you can find out where you fit on this. Now, everybody on this list is an Israelite, okay? It's not the people over there, in Israel now, okay? Those are imposters. Those, they have, usurped their way into that land after we were, kicked out of that land, and it's been a constant war in that land now for people to try to claim it. All right, and the 1948ers, look up 1948, and then Israel, and then you'll find out what really went on when they the first formed nation, and all that. Okay, that's another lesson in its entirety. So they've called themselves the people, all right, the chosen people, when they are not the people. All right, we are the people. All right, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We fit directly into the curses mentioned in Deuteronomy. They, however, do not. Okay. They're not supposed to be in that land. All right, Israel, according to prophecy, is not even going to be in that land right now. So whoever those people are, according to prophecy, couldn't even be Israel, because this is not the time and place for Israel to be there. It happened after the diaspora. All right, and the diaspora was the spreading of Israel. All right, when the Lord became very angry with us and scattered us among the nations. Okay, we're not to be in our homeland right now. Okay, so not that there's no Israelites over there. There might be a few. But the vast majority of Israel is dwelling within, specifically, the United States, and a lot over in Europe as well. All right, of course, Canada and Mexico as well. But the biggest chunk is in America. So this is the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm going to go ahead and read it off for you. So at the top, you'll see the Southern Kingdom. The Southern Kingdom are what would normally be considered so-called black people, right? And then the Northern Kingdom down below would be considered Latinos and Native American varieties, right? So starting at the top, we have Judah, who are the so-called Negroes. These are your so-called, regular everyday black folk that you see, right? Benjamin, all right, these are going to be your West Indians. These are going to be your brothers down there in the islands, right? Then you're going to have Levi, the so-called Haitians, okay? And you can see that everybody on this list has suffered the torment, all right, suffered torment at the hands of the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Just like we have a nation that we go back to, we're not really black folk or Mexicans. We're Judah and Issachar, right? And all the other tribes in between. They are not really white people, just like we're not black people or Mexican people or Native American people. They're not white people. They are who? They are the Edomites. Just as the Negroes are Judah, the so-called white people are Esau. And notice, they're not on this list, okay? Because just like we are the Lord's chosen people, Esau is the Lord's hated people, okay? The top of the hated people, okay? Now, you have all the heathens under them that are hated as well, but Esau is the most vilified, hated, degenerate, disgusting individual that has caused the most harm and the most hurt on this planet, okay? So continuing on with the list, all right, we got through the Southern Kingdom. Again, just going to rattle that off one more time. Judah, the so-called Negroes. Benjamin, the so-called West Indian, again, down there in those islands, Bahamas, Jamaica, all that. Levi, the so-called Haitians. And they just ran a slander campaign all over y'all just not too long ago. All right, with the whole cats and dogs whole conspiracy that they were trying to say. All right, which they had no proof of. All right, and then the Northern Kingdom, these being the so-called Native Americans and the Latinos of different varieties. You're gonna have Simeon, the so-called Dominicans, Zebulon, the so-called Guatemalans to Panamanians. All right, Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans, Manasseh, the so-called Cubans, Gad, the so-called North American Indians, the Native Americans, the indigenous Americans, right, that we're talking about today. We're talking about all Israel today, but, you know, Gad being the big one today, being around Thanksgiving and all that, with it being currently the day that they call Thanksgiving today, the 28th of November. Reuben, the so-called Seminole Indians, Naphtali, the so-called Argentinians, the Chileans, Asher, the so-called Colombians, the Uruguayans, and then last but not least, Issachar, the so-called Mexicans, okay? If you're on this list, you are our brothers, we are brothers, okay? So we know there's a lot of inter-tribe rivalry, so-called black against so-called Mexican, so-called black on black, so-called Mexican on Mexican, right? But at the end of the day, we're all brothers, regardless of what we look like, all right? And we should know that, hey, man, we're all nothing to these Edomites, okay? They don't value any of us, but we are on the top. We are the top. We are the Lord's chosen people. They are nothing, and we are something, okay? So let's go ahead and get right into this. I wanted to explain that. So yes, this whole time they've been lying to you about who you are, to keep you down, all right, to make you feel like you're not worth anything, all right? And that's why we really don't know our history. We don't know who we go back to, because they've done such a great job, all right, and their wicked disinformation campaigns of, you know, separating us from our histories and finding out who we are. Okay, they say we go back to Africans, okay? Our people aren't African, all right? None of our people are African. Notice you don't see the so-called Africans on this list. Well, it says Negro. Well, no. The Negro would be the so-called American, you know, as you would see in America, black folk, or other places as well. Africans are a lot different. We don't even look like, you know, I'm saying we as in, you know, the 12 tribes of Israel. We don't even look like how these people put our people off onto. You know, they say the so-called Negroes are African. The Africans, the Hamites, those are Hamites. That's their true nation. The Hamites don't even look anything like a so-called Negro. They got those fucked up big-ass foreheads that are all peeled back, big-ass yellow eyes, all right? Their teeth are all crooked, crazy-looking necks, all right? They don't even look the same, all right? Because they're not the same people, okay? They're not the same people. And they try to say our people, you know, and like I said, I believe I go back to Judah, you know, and again, this is not about skin color in any way. I look like a so-called white person, and I believe that I go back to to Judah, okay? Now, in my family line, it would seem to be that we go back to Issachar, all right? But through the Spirit, I don't believe we go back to Issachar. I think we go back through Judah, okay? But through the family line, we would be seen as so-called Mexicans, right? A lot of you Mexican, so-called Mexican, all right? Of course, you know, my mom's white, so I look a bit lighter than the usual, right? And again, it goes by the seed line of your father. So you Israelites, you might be out there, you know, some of you might say, oh, my mom's white, or my mom's an African, or my mom's this, my mom's that. It doesn't matter, or my mom's black, but my dad's white. Well, hold on now, because we know that it goes back to the seed line of your fathers, okay? And we're going to prove that right now. Prove all things, okay? And they declared, right? This is Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Okay, so it's by the father. Okay, it doesn't matter what your mom is. Now, this is all about a seed line thing. Okay, so you can go and look up generations, of, you can go and see, and this, you know, we say Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? But the world calls Yahushai Jesus, all right? That's not the correct name. Again, there's a lot of information to go into one lesson. That's not necessarily what we're here to do. We just talked about the name yesterday. So if you want to go and see that, more about the name, again, you know, you can go look up, I recommend learning from GMS. I'm not a part of GMS nor affiliated with them, but that's who I learned from. I've been learning from them for years. They won't, you know, set you wrong. All right, go and, you know, you'll watch their videos. Start with something like learning the names. That's the most important thing you can do. Watch the lesson I did yesterday. You can scroll to the end of that lesson, and at the end I'll break down the names for you. And then on top of that, it's also going to give you links to show where you can get more about the name. And that's where you should start and learn how to pray and all that, right? If this is your first time and you're just waking up to the idea that, you are an Israelite, all right, being a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, okay? So this is the genealogy, all right, of, Yahushua, who they would call Jesus Christ, okay? And you see right down here, all right, that it always goes back through, the men, okay? And it goes back to that line, all right? You see Yahushua, they have him depicted here as a white man named Jesus Christ, all right? And that's just a bunch of, again, Edomite white supremacy that they've inserted into the book because they don't want you to know who's who, right? In Revelation, it talks about the Lord being a so-called black man with woolly white hair. So this guy doesn't exist in the book at all. This is Jesus Christ character. His name's in there because they put it in there, but a depiction of a white guy with, with bluish eyes and long blonde hair, or long dirty brown blonde hair that goes around helping everybody, all right, and loves everybody is not in there. You say, well, Jesus, it says it in there. Well, yeah, it says he loved, the Israelites, all right? You might say the world, but the world was referring to the world as a whole as part of Israel, okay? He didn't love everybody. Remember, him and his Father are one, all right? Let's go and get that. I and my Father are one. Right here, John 10:30. I and my Father are one, meaning one mind. Okay, so if the Lord doesn't like something, and the Lord hates heathens, okay, then that means Yahushua, who you call Jesus Christ, doesn't like heathens either. Okay, and you see going back to the line here. All right, you see it goes back to King David. Through that line. But we're all descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so Abraham down to this line, you're going to see Isaac and Jacob. All right, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, which goes down through King David. King David goes, through here, through Solomon, Ahaz, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. And then you're going to see right here, Yahushua. Okay, and you're going to see certain tribes, all right, throughout here. So you see Judah, you see, Simeon, Levi, all right, so Malachi. So you're going to see a lot of different, not Malachi, but you're going to see Simeon, Levi. Was Manasseh? Did we show you Manasseh on there? Judah. Where are we at? We'll just go through and pick them out. That's through, actually. There's a bigger list than this, but it doesn't have all of them, because if you were going to do the genealogies of everyone, there'd be a lot, but you see it. So we all come back to that Abraham, Isaac, Jacob line, right? So that's, and notice it goes through the men. Notice that it went through the men, okay? So that's what you're going to see. It goes through the men, because again, they declare their pedigrees after their families by the house of their father. Now, if you look what pedigree is, all right, and not the dog food, okay, but if you look at pedigree, you're going to see it says the record of descent of an animal showing it to be purebred, all right, but right here in definition 2, it says the recorded ancestry, especially upper class ancestry, a royal lineage, which we are, of a person or a family. And another word you're going to get here is race, okay, the race, all right, another word for race is ethnicity, okay, right here, ethnic group, our race or ethnicity, as they would like to call it, all right, comes from our father. So if our mother is Asian, our dad's a so-called black man, we're not Asian, okay, we're black, okay. So if our dad's a so-called black man and our wife's a so-called white woman, we're not white, all right, we're black, okay. And I'm just using the worldly terms, black, white, these are all the colors that they put out there. And, all the different names, again, our real names being, so-called Negro, being Judah, so on and so forth. So they try to use these terms, and it's just more dehumanizing terms and terms to keep us further away from who we really are. Now, notice that back in the day, you don't really hear it too much anymore, but white people used to be referred to as Caucasians. Okay, now they don't really use that term anymore because that term has been compromised. Okay, now you might see it on job applications or certain things like that. Now, I think most of the time they'll say like white or different things now. You don't really see the word Caucasian anymore. Now, the word Caucasian comes from the word Caucasus, all right? And that's referring to the Caucasus Mountains over there where they were dwelling, all right? And one of the many mountain ranges that they dwelled, because they were dwelling in caves, all right? Thou that has dwelled in the clefts of the rock. All right, you had so many different occurrences of them dwelling in clefts of the rock. One of them, main one being Seir. All right, Mount Seir. You can see right here. You can see how it looks. All right, the ancient Edomites, Idumea of southern Jordan. You see they dwelled in the clefts of the rock. All right, and here you go. Dealing with the Edomites. Okay, and that's what they've done. They've dwelled in rocks over and over and over again. All right, and again, if you want to hear more about dwelling in the clefts of the rock, we talked about that again yesterday. But yeah, man. So they're trying to cover up who they are. Now, where does the word Caucasian come from? And you're going to see it comes from Caucasus. All right, and the word Caucasian comes from the Caucasus region, a mountain system that runs through several countries, including Georgia, Russia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, in Europe, in that area. So you see that's where that word comes from, because they were dwelling a mountainous region, because they dwell in mountains. They are mountain people. Okay, but they stem away from this further, because now that it's been uncovered more and more, all right, through the Holy Spirit, they don't want to be associated with that anymore. So now they'd rather be just called white, or soon they're going to want to be called American European or something along those lines. All right, we just call them as they are, Edomites and the devil. All right, that's who they are. They're a devil. All right, the devil. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this lesson started up. We had a little bit of an introductory process there for the newer brothers and sisters that are, may find themselves here. If so, welcome. Hey, may Yahweh Shai bless you and guide you in this truth, and help you discover yourself and Him as well, and how to praise Him correctly. All right. So again, Thanksgiving, an annual celebration of Native genocide. Now that we got that opening up, you know that the Native Americans are Israelites, as well as all those people listed on that list. All right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And this holiday, all right, that is being celebrated today, all right, is filled with murder and bloodshed and grape. All right, take the G off that. We can't say it or else they'll flag the video. Grape and conquest and colonization and slaughter and enslavement of all of our people. Okay, now the biggest one on this day being Native Americans. Now, again, just like there might be certain so-called white-looking people that can end up being Israelites just because their seed line, their dad, their whole family line might have really liked white women. All right, and their grandmother was white, and they were white all the way down. But every father was a so-called black man, and now they're over here looking leprous as hell, looking super pale and super white. All right, but they're actually a so-called Negro. All right, they're actually a Judite. Okay, or you might have a so-called black person who you would think would be a Judite. All right, that through their father line, someone way down the line was actually just a Native American, a Gadite. So they're not even a so-called Negro. They're not a Judite. They're a Gadite. They're a Native American, but they look just like a so-called black person, right? So it's not. We want to push that this is not a skin color thing. In no way is this a skin color thing. Skin color can be used from time to time, as initial. Oh, that person might just be an Edomite. But upon further investigation, we went and talked to him and sat down with him. And they were down with the idea of the society being messed up and the white man usurping his authority into this position. So he might just be an Israelite. And as soon as you start teaching, all doubt goes out, man, because you can't teach if this truth in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai if you're a heathen. All right, especially not an Edomite. Anybody, but especially not an Edomite. So again, an annual celebration of Native genocide. People celebrate it with turkey and stuffing and cranberries. All right, and being thankful. Right, for all the things that they've stolen. We're not down with it, man. We're not down with it at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start up right off the bat with this. This is from Do Something. We have a couple different articles here. This is from DoSomething.org. It says Truthsgiving, the true history of Thanksgiving and how you can support Native communities this holiday and beyond. Now let me grab a drink here. It says Thanksgiving is a time for celebration, good food, and giving thanks. So as we gather with family, which we don't, okay, and this truth, we do not celebrate this holiday nor any holiday of the world. Okay, we celebrate Hebrew holidays, all right, but we do not celebrate the holidays of Thanksgiving or Christmas or Valentine's Day or birthdays. We don't celebrate none of that, all right? So Thanksgiving is a time for celebration, good food, and giving thanks to these people in the world. So, all right, so as we gather with family, crush unworldly amounts of stuffing, and enjoy a football game in the crisp autumn air, let's also acknowledge the real history of the holiday and practicing gratitude by giving back. How about you just don't celebrate the holiday at all? Okay. So it says this year we're celebrating Thanksgiving and also Truthsgiving, concept coined by indigenous activist Christine Nobis. Now let's look at her. Let's see if she's a $5 Indian or what. Let's see. No, she's a little light, but again, can't go by skin color. She looks like she could be a native, so there you go. But there are $5 Indians. That's another thing. We'll look up that up. $5 Indian. All right, so it says it was developed by this lady to dismantle common misunderstandings about Thanksgiving and, well, the truth. Yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. We're here for this, okay? So it says what's the real story of Thanksgiving? The Pilgrims had hardly explored the shores of Cape Cod for 4 days before they had robbed the graves of my ancestors and stolen their corns and beans. All right, Wampanoag activist and organizer of the National Day of Mourning. Okay, and we're not gonna, read none of this, but it's by Teen Vogue. If you want to go and watch it, you can go ahead and watch it. Again, the page is just do something Truthsgiving. You can look it up and it'll come right up. So, couple things about this so-called holiday. The quote first Thanksgiving, right? As a lot of folks understand it, was in 1621 between the Pilgrims of Plymouth Colony and the Wampanoag. How do you pronounce this?
Wampanoag.
Wampanoag. Okay, Wampanoag. Okay, the Wampanoag tribe in the present-day Massachusetts. While records indicate that this celebration did happen, there are a few misconceptions we need to clear up, because the erasure, in other words, removal and exclusion of Native American narratives from the histories a lot of us were taught, we've been left with an incomplete picture of what really happened. Again, they remove Israelite accounts and narratives, and they replace it with theirs, okay? Whoever controls the world controls history. All right, how does that go? Who controls... how does it go? There's a quote. Yeah, it's from George Orwell's novel 1984. Whoever controls the past controls the future, means that the entity with power to manipulate historical records and narratives essentially holds sway over how people perceive the past, which in turn influences their understanding of the present and the future, as well as the past as well, the past, present, and future. And these Edomites, all right, in that Renaissance time, all right, and the Renaissance means revival. That's when they went forth with their crusades, all right, pushing that name Jesus Christ, Jesus Christos, pushing that, and, went on a rampant massacre filled with, massacre, bloodshed, of course, genocide, and iconoclasm and assimilation. Okay, look up those words: assimilation, iconoclasm. Okay, iconoclasm's the destruction of, most notably in this case, religious artifacts. In this case, what they did with us was they painted over our, they knocked the noses off of statues, destroyed statues. They painted over paintings, destroyed paintings, carved them out, and everything that they could do to get rid of any defining characteristics, specifically Negro, right? So-called Negro, when because black people, so-called, have very identifiable noses. Okay, and that's why they go and knock all the noses off statues. If you ever wonder why all these statues are missing noses, because you can tell the difference between a so-called white person and a so-called black person on a statue just by their nose and the lip. They have fuller lips, all right, and bigger, fuller noses. All right, the Edomites have these tiny little bird peck lips, all right, and inefficient noses that can't even breathe correctly. I know because I happen to have one, that was gifted to me by my mother. So, And that's why they knock those noses off of statues, because you could look right at a statue and tell if it's a white person or a black person or not. Okay, and that's why so many statues are missing noses, because they don't want you to know that was a statue of a so-called black person. They would knock the noses, they're because of the way that they're carved. They're more likely to fall off. It's they're and the way that they're positioned. Okay. Why isn't that fingers pointing out never why don't the fingers, that seems delicate when they have a finger that's pointing out or wrapped around something or holding something or a sword. Why do those never fall off? Why is it always just the noses? You think other parts would fall off. The rest of the statue is just perfect condition. Just perfect condition, right? It doesn't seem any signs of wear at all, but the noses, it's always the noses. Why always the noses? And they give you a bullshit excuse and they say, oh, it's because, why do so many statues have broken noses? Here's their bullshit excuses. It says, when a statue topples forward, the nose is the point that makes contact with the ground and becomes broken. Another person says, because they stick out and, they crack off. All right, why are so many ancient Egyptians? Yeah, you see it, man. Why are so many ancient Egyptians? You see, that's what they do. They crack off the noses. Okay. So what else? It says, why are so many noses broken? All right, this is one of the most common questions we hear about Egyptian statues, especially those made of stone. It says the noses stick out from the face and are therefore vulnerable to damage from erosion or accidents. All right, so yada yada yada, yeah. Let's go look some of these. This whole head is sticking out. You think that would be subject to the wear of time, but it wasn't. Only the nose. Very interesting. What about, all these other things? What about this knee? What about this? Why the hand? The hand could have been broken over time. Got the nose though. All right, so that one's a little bit different. But you see all these, then that's what they'll do. They'll whack the head off, or they'll whack the nose off. All right, that's what they always do. Okay, and because if you were to make these look a certain way, okay, for example, and you can see this nose was, it was out here, but they usually whack the nose off at a way deeper rate than that. So let's go and see. Like this one, they whacked it off like pretty deep. This one looks like Michael Jackson almost. So damn near. But if you had a bigger, fuller nose on that, wouldn't be a very good case for these devils. Okay, would not be a very good case. So you can see it, but another one right here. But even looking into these, a lot of the statues, and they did a bad job as it was, because looking into some of these statues, this doesn't look like it would be a so-called white person. Even if anything, I'd think maybe Asian or something like that. All right, because how the eyes are, but it doesn't look like a so-called white person at all. So, and the other thing that they do is that they go over and paint. They paint over things. Here's another one. Look at that. They go over and paint over things, and that's just what they do. They paint over, and that's why you think when you see the tombs, well, that looks like really fresh paint. It's because it is fresher paint. It's only a couple thousand, one, if even 1,000 years old. All right, if even 1,000 years, a couple thousand. All right, since that Renaissance period, it's only a couple thousand years old, instead of way further than that. Okay, instead of it may be only 2,000 years old instead of 7,000 years old, right? So, or 8,000, right? So it says there's no evidence that the Wampanoag people were even invited in the first place. All right, this first Thanksgiving. Okay, it says there's no evidence that the Wampanoag people were even invited in the first place. An account from the time said 90 members of the Wampanoag tribe were present and makes no mentions of invitation. So experts believe that these 90 men were an army sent by Wampanoag leader Asamaquin at the sound of gunshots, which turned to be part of the celebration, right? So they weren't even invited in the first place. All right, well, we sat down and we broke bread together. Sure. In the first encounter with the Wampanoag people, the Pilgrims, let me just say it, the Edomites, okay, we're going to replace this word Pilgrims with Edomites because that's who they were. The first encounter with the Wampanoag people, the Edomites stole from the tribe's winter provisions. It wasn't later until the Asomaquin, Asomaquin, I'm probably butchering that, Slovakia, formed an alliance between the groups. Even then, the alliance really only existed because Wampanoag people were ravaged by diseases brought by the European colonizers, Edomites, because they're dirty people. They're dirty, dirty people, these Edomites. And you notice they're always sick, all right? They're always sick, all right? It says, in the years prior, it was less about intercultural harmony and more about survival, made necessary by the actions of these settlers. The first harvest was followed by deadly conflicts between the colonizers and native people, including, but not limited to, the Wampanoags. The Europeans repaid their native allies by seizing native land and imprisoning, enslaving, and executing native people, Gadites. Following Thanksgiving celebrations by European settlers are often marked by Following Thanksgiving celebrations by European settlers often marked brutal victories over native people, like the Pequot or Pico massacre of 1632 or 1636, and the beheading of Wampanoag leader Metacom in 1676. Okay. We'll get that one too. So you see these devils, man, these devils. It says, why haven't I heard of this before? Many students still complete an American education unsure about the place of Native American people in the nation's past or in its present. It says, Philip Deloria, Harvard professor and scholar of Native American history. Unfortunately, a lot of U.S. schools just don't accurately teach Native American history, or sometimes don't teach Native American history at all. All right? The thing is, they don't want it to be taught. They don't want critical race theory to go out at all. They don't want anything about the blacks. They don't want anything about the Mexicans. They don't want nothing about the Native Americans. They don't want nothing. Just shut the fuck up and just be happy you have what you have. All right? That's what they say to us. All right? Just be happy you even have anything. Be happy we even let you stay. It says, the fact is, Native American history is American history, really Israelite history, but it's a part of American history as well when they came here and conquered this land. It says November is National Native American History Month, which makes it the perfect time to learn about the role Native people have played in shaping our country. You can go ahead and see it. We don't have to read too much of this article because we have other ones as well. So, what can I do? Don't celebrate the shit. Don't celebrate it. Why would you celebrate the slaughter of your brothers? Why would you celebrate it? Okay? Why? Why would you do it? It doesn't make any sense. Okay? What are you thankful for? Being awake to the knowledge of what you devils have done. That's what we're thankful for. All right? Because you're a devil and it's finally being revealed, right? So let's continue on. And maybe I'll snag this photo right here. All right. So let's grab a scripture, man. Let's grab a scripture. Let's get it. So we're going to get 2 Maccabees 7:31. All right. Here it is. This is in the Apocrypha, all right, which is a part of the Bible, but just as these devils have done with anything, they removed it. All right. Notably the Protestants. All right. Was it the Protestants? It was the Protestants. Yeah, it was the Protestants. They moved it in the 1800s. Now, mind you, it was in there all before they removed it. All right, and they said, "Oh no, it's not ordained." Well, I had no problem with it for years. All right, 1611 is when the King James version was first published, and it had it in it, and it wasn't until how many 100 years or more until you removed it and said, "Oh no, it's not part of the Bible." Now, oh, that's not part of the Bible. It was a part of the Bible before you removed it. All right, I happen to have a copy of the replica, not a full replica, because it doesn't have the original font in it, of the 1611, and you can get yourself one as well. 1611 KJV Bible. Okay, you can see it right here. You can go and get you one right here. Amazon, they're on sale right now, actually, for $21. I'd go ahead and get you one right here. Bam, bam. Get you one, man. Get you one. All right, because that's going to have the Old Testament, New Testament, Apocrypha right in the middle of them. Okay, and I would recommend getting this deal on Amazon right now too, because I did end up spending. I got mine on sale for about 20, but they are usually about $40. Okay, they are usually about $40. So if you want to get one, now's a pretty good time to get one. All right, and get reading. So yeah, man. So 2 Maccabees 7:31. Now that we've explained that, it says, "And now that has been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of Yahweh." Now, again, remember how we were talking just a minute ago about how these devils, having the power right now. They can essentially change history. They can change pretty much anything. One of the other things that they've done is they've changed the meaning of words. Now, mischief, when you look up mischief, I'll show you. Let's go to Google. It's going to say playful misbehavior or troublemaking, especially in children. Naughtiness, badness, playfulness that is intended to tease, mock, and create trouble. It's a little hand buzzer or a fake turd on the bathroom floor, or like a something like that. That's mischief, right? No, that's just being playfully naughty. A little bit of there's another word for it. All right, being a little menace. All right, and just being a prankster. All right, being a little prankster. All right, playing games and jokes on people. But mischief has a very real and very different word. Okay, and we're gonna show you that today. So this word mischief. Okay, as we're gonna go and get the Blue Letter Bible up. All right, and this is a Bible study tool, as you can see. It's a tool. It's a very good resource. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna type in mischief. All right, and we're gonna see this word mischief. All right, mischief. Now we're gonna go grab it. All right, you can't do this with all words, and we'll make sure we get the correct definition if it's wrong. But we're gonna look for the word mischief. Okay. A son. All right.
Strong's H611. Ason.
Okay.
And the form just below that, asa.
Okay. So, comes from a Hebrew word, okay? And you're going to see that it mischief, and it means evil, okay? Evil, harm, or hurt. Evil, harm, or hurt. It's not playful, it's evil, harm, or hurt. Now, if you don't want to believe this, all right, and what you should, because it's in the Hebrew, then what you can do is you can go and you can get the, that's not what I wanted, not the Bible Gateway. You can go ahead and get the, where is it? It's right here. You can go and look up the word mischief, okay? Mischief, okay? Well, I misspelled it, but mischief, okay? Evil condition, misfortune, hardship, need, want, wickedness, wrongdoing, evil, okay? Evil, to come to bring to grief, okay? So that's the true word, meaning harm or evil, okay? As the work of some agent or due to some cause is from late 15th century. Now, later on, okay, 1784, sense of playful malice, okay? The meaning has softened with time, okay? In the Middle English, to be full of mischief was to be miserable, okay? To make mischief was to result in misery, okay? The meaning softened in time. They changed the meaning of it. Just like in 2020, they changed the meaning of vaccine, okay? Had to space that out. They changed the meaning of it, and you can look that up. You can't say what we're doing is misinformation because it is truth. You can go and look up that the definition was indeed changed. It was changed, it was changed, it was changed, just like so many other words that you devils have changed. And you can try to silence us and take these videos down, and we know that's probably what you'll try to do. But that only furthers our point, okay? When you take our videos down, what we do is we just change them up a little bit, re-upload them again. People see them and say, hell, this video was taken down? Oh, what they're saying must have been true then. Why else would they take it down? Because you're scared, man. You're scared as hell, okay? And that's what you've done. You've been the author of mischief against the Hebrews, and we are the Hebrews, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? And thou, that has been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews, us, right, shall not escape the hands of Yahweh. So the Lord's going to pay you back. You think that you've done this and that you've gotten away with it, and that's not the case, okay? The Lord's going to pay you back, and he's going to pay you back oh so bad. And, man, when it hits you, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it. Oh, why did this happen to us? What did we ever do wrong? What did you ever do right? All right? So now you know the definition of mischief, all these different definitions, right? And again, we are Israel, all right? Going back to that line of Jacob, all right? So another term you'll hear us say from time to time is Jakes. That's referring to Jacob, all right? Israelites, okay? That's just another name for Israelites. You Jakes out there, you Jakes, all right? Going back to that same line of, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we'll say Jakes. These Jakes out here, you Jakes, right? Jacob was whose brother was Esau, right? Esau's brother was Jacob. Okay, Jacob's brother was Esau. Okay, so Esau is our wicked older brother. Okay, and we're gonna get Amos 1:11. All right, which reads, "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof." The Lord's not gonna, be slack on getting you back. All right, no rhyme intended. Okay, so the Lord's not gonna slack on getting you back. All right, the punishment is gonna be very severe with you guys. It says, "I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever." Now, notice that his anger did tear perpetually. Now, what is perpetual? Perpetual means what? Never changing or ending, everlasting. Okay, never ending, eternal, permanent, endless. Well, they have changed. The white man has changed. He never changed. All right. If anything, he got a little bit more subtle. All right, with the subtlety, with how he would come at it. All right, and make himself look a little bit better, formed some movements and some, Black Lives Matter and some different things, and helped these things and funded some of these things to make them look better. But deep down, they're really just there to destroy you, all right? Never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusteth, so does his wickedness, okay? Roughly paraphrasing. So never, never, ever, ever, ever trust this devil, okay? When he does something for you, remember that it's against you, okay? If he's doing something that's going to help you, stay the fuck away from it, because he's not going to help. He's not going to help you. Remember, any help that he does give you is the worst help possible. All right, you're having trouble and you need help, to find a place to live. All right, guess what? Is he gonna help you get into a place? He might. Is it gonna be nice? No. You know what he's gonna give you? Smack dead in the middle of the ghetto with low-income housing. All right, where there's robbery and shootings. That's where he's gonna put you. All right, and then, all right, when you become a victim of that, well, usual suspects, black on black crime. That's what's gonna happen, because they breed it. All right, they breed it. Okay. And that's what they do. They put our people in bad situations. And when our people have to grow up fighting, all right, they say our people are animals. All right. They make liquor super cheap on the res and they push it everywhere. But then when natives drink it, Gadites, right, drink it, or natives, quote unquote, Gadites, really who they are, when they drink it and become addicted because they put so much of it in for so cheap in their land, and they gave them such a shit situation where you're going to want to drink away your woes and your miseries. Now, they're just fucking alcoholics. They're alcoholics. Okay, and then what do they do with the native? What do they do with the Latinos? They say, oh, they're criminals and they're grapists and they all they do is live off the system. But then again, you need them over here because who else were you gonna pay $2 to build a fucking house? You can't pay anybody else $2 an hour to build a house. All right, but the so-called illegals, there's no such thing as fucking illegal people. All right, nobody's illegal. All right, if anybody was illegal, it would be you devils. All right, it's illegal to dwell on a land. It's not illegal. All right, it's a land. Okay, you have no bound over this land, Esau, saying it's illegal. It's not illegal. All right, that border should just be wide open, man. It should just be wide open. Whoa, you're gonna let all the criminals in? Oh, there's no criminals you need to let in. Don't worry, all the criminals are already in America. All right, either that, and you know where they're sitting at? In America and Europe. That's where they're mainly at. All right, you don't have to worry about the Mexicans coming over and letting all the criminals in. The criminals are already there. All right, the CIA, the FBI, the police, all right, the presidents of the United States, the politician. Those are all the criminals with insider trading and the lies and the robberies and the what do they call it? Pyramid schemes and the scams and the lies and the death and the torture and the robbery and the Jeffrey Epsteins and the Epstein Islands and the Diddy party. They're already here. You don't need to let any more criminals in. You're letting criminals in. No, they're already here. They've been here. You want to know why? Because you devils, all right, you pasty-ass, crack-a-lackin'-ass, Edomite white devils you're the criminals. You're the real criminals. And if anything that we've ever done was criminal, it's only because we learned from you, our big brother, right? You taught us wrong. You led us wrong, right? Because you're a devil, and we're subject unto you in this situation. Really, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has made us subject unto you in this situation for our punishment, okay? And you've led our people wrong, okay? Because you're evil, all right? And you had anger against us perpetually, okay? And you never changed, and you never will change, all right? So you put us into situations where we damn near have to steal, and when we do steal, and again, I'm not standing up for stealing, okay? But in the case where someone's starving, I could see it. I'm not condoning it, but I could see it, all right? As other brothers have said before, you're not supposed to steal, all right? Thou shalt not steal. Okay, you should not steal. You're not supposed to be doing it. All right, and but in a situation where you can't get nothing like that, I could see what would drive somebody to go and steal for food, not material bullshit items, but for food. All right, and also, as I've heard, you know, the offense for stealing food was generally a lighter sentence than just stealing other things, because you need to eat. All right, these people have put you in a situation where they won't feed you, and then when you go and do something like steal, okay, now all see they're just a fucking criminal, they're just a thief. Well, you didn't give them the opportunities that they needed. Okay, here it is, they have, it's them and 2 kids. All right, and a father, if the father's even there, because that was a whole tactic that you ran to get the so-called black man out of the house. Okay, made it to where you couldn't collect on not unemployment, but food stamps and get care like that, unless if there was a black man in the house. So a black man would go and get another house and keep that man out of the house, right? And then the discord would sow itself. So. But that's what you've done, all right? And then you make it to where if you do have a family now, they'll give you $200 in food stamps. Meanwhile, you can't even damn near get a grocery cart even full for not even, $100 doesn't even get you that. $200 maybe might get you a little bit more. You might be able to fill up the bottom of the cart, and that's if you're buying, the cheapest shit possible, like pork, which you're not supposed to be eating. Okay, and that's why they do that. That's why they keep that cheap, so they can keep Jake fucked up. All right, the only things you can really afford to eat that cheap is gonna be pastas, pork, like ham. All right, ham and turkeys, bolognas and hot dogs, ramen. All right, that's it. All right, and Donald Duck orange juice. Okay, and Tampico. All right, and fucking Kool-Aid. That's that. And then you wonder why our people eat like that, because our people are broke. They're broke, right? And that's what you do, man. And you make it to where it's so crazy to even try to buy food. And then when our people steal, you say, see, they're just a bunch of thieves, all right? You put them in a violent situation when they have to defend themselves. See, they're just a bunch of murderers. But you're the ones that have put them in that situation, all right? So don't think you're slick, devil, because you're not, all right? You're dumb. You're really dumb. You're a dumb devil. All right, and Yahweh Shemi Shai has let us been able to see right through you. So how long have we been going for? Let me see. About 47 minutes. Dang, already? So you can go ahead and read these. I got a lot more. All right, there's a lot. I'm not going to be able to get them all. But you can get it right here. The first Thanksgiving story covers up all the all too real violence in early America. And I might just come back with a part 2. A little bit later on, as a matter of fact. Do I want to do a part 2? I might just do part 2, I might get ready to just cut it here soon. I might get one more scripture. I might just get one more scripture and leave this up, and then come back after Sabbath hits, because Sabbath's coming in tonight, and make 2 lessons out of it, because this is really a mini scriptures. I got 7. I'll probably get one more scripture and just make 2 lessons out of it, really. Do I want to do that? Is that something I want to do? I think that is something I want to do. I think that would be decent. Anyway, we'll continue on for a little bit. Trying to debate what I want to do right now. I might just do it and just cut it up into 2. It'd probably be best that way anyway, because Jake's attention span. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave off on this. We'll come back to this and get all this a little bit later. But we're gonna get Obadiah 1 and 10 and maybe another scripture, and then we'll go ahead and close out for this part, and then we'll do part 2. Okay. So Obadiah 1 and 10, it says, and this is what's going to happen to you, devil. You're going to be cut off. And when we come back, all right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that being cut off. So Obadiah 1 and 10 says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Okay, so we got to go up to 4, because that's another thing. That's why I have this little 4 here, because I wanted to touch on something that was said in 4. Because this is you devils. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. And again, we talked about this the other day. Notice on the quarters, what do they have? The eagle. All right, notice on the presidential seal where they have the eagle. All right, the bird of America, the eagle. Guess who also had that? Rome, and the Rome were the same people, the Edomites, slack you. So, and they're back to the regeneration, reincarnation as it is, and it is a biblical concept, okay? And we have lessons about that, all right, the brothers in this truth. I'd recommend going and watching the ones from GMS. Not a part of GMS, all right, or affiliate anyway, but that's who I watch. You can go and look up, if you want to see some of that, go and this is the video I would recommend. Let's look up reincarnation. This is the Apostle Gabar out of GMS. All right, the apostle, one of the heads of GMS. All right, the main head being Apostle Tahar. I'll show you his channel. So right here, reincarnation, a biblical fact. Go in there, and you can watch all these. Word on reincarnation. Again, here's another one about reincarnation. I'll give you in case you don't. I know Jake's kind of lazy sometimes. This is the Apostle Gabar. Okay, GMS. One of the heads. Apostles mean he's like one of the heads. This is the head. All right, the top apostle of GMS. This is Apostle Tahar. All right, GMS declaring the end. And you can go and look up reincarnation. That little search thing right there. If you're on your phone, unfortunately, you can't do that. But I'll look up reincarnation, and then you can just type those into your phone, and then they'll pop up. You can type in GMS declaring the end, reincarnation. All right, and they'll pop up that way. And the other apostle. All right, the three that I have here is Apostle Ramallah, okay? And you can go and type in reincarnation, a biblical truth, right? Isn't he's the one that had that? Concerning reincarnation is biblical, regeneration, reincarnation. There you go. You have plenty, okay? You have plenty. So you can go and look at that. And that's who these devils are. They're back to their regeneration. They're just Romans, and then the Edomites, then they were Romans, then they're white people. They're the same people. They're the Edomites. Obadiah 1:4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So there you go. So these devils are going to get paid back. So, again, this is part 1, and I'm going to title it such, Lord willing. And then I'm going to come back, Lord willing, with more later. All right, after I might, if I don't do it tonight, I'll finish it up tomorrow. I might do it tonight. I might do it tomorrow, seeing where the Spirit takes me. Depending if I get another topic for tomorrow. If I don't, I might just finish this up tomorrow. And we'll do it that way. But I'm essentially just going to leave all of these things up, and we'll talk about those when I come back. So that's for the first one. I'm probably at 50. Yeah, we're almost at an hour, so I don't want to go over an hour. We can just do 2 parts at that point. So I feel like an hour is good for a lesson. And if you want to go longer, that's longer. But Jake, it's easier to watch in one sitting with an hour. So that's what we got for this part. Thanksgiving, an annual celebration of Native genocide for the part 1. Lord willing, we'll be back soon to make the part 2, whether it's today or tomorrow. Tomorrow you got Black Friday coming in, so I could probably reiterate and put more into that as well, because that's a holiday that celebrates the auctioneering of Black Americans, all right, slaves, all right, and that's what they've done during the transatlantic slave trade. Now they say that's not a fact. And of course, who controls history right now? Controls who controls the world right now controls history. So of course you can make it seem like that's a wrong, all right. But it's the truth, man. And these devils celebrate our genocide and our death, all right. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and we are the real Israelites, all right. We're waking up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and being brought into the remembrance. And hey, call all Yahweh Shem Yahushai for that. And one more scripture, in the land of their remember themselves. It's in Deuteronomy, I believe. No, Baruch. Yeah, Baruch, not Deuteronomy. Never mind. So Baruch 2:30, it says, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves." And that's what's happening right now. Okay, so with that, we're going to close out for this first part. Lord willing, it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Shalom, you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. Until next one, Lord willing, Shalom.